You didn't realize how magnetic you are, not in a way that was obvious to you, because to you, the way you think, the way you show up, the way you move through the world, it just felt normal. You weren't trying to stand out. You weren't trying to draw attention. You were just being yourself. But what felt normal to you wasn't normal to everyone else. There was something about your presence, something about your energy, something about the way you carried yourself that people noticed, even when you didn't. And because you didn't fully see it, you didn't always understand why people responded to you the way they did, why some people were drawn to you immediately, why some people opened up to you quickly, why some people paid close attention to what you were doing, what you were saying, how you were moving, and at the same time, why some interactions felt off. Not clearly wrong, not something you could easily explain, but something you could feel. There were moments where you gave your energy, your time, your attention, and afterward you felt drained, not because you did anything wrong, but because not everyone who is drawn to your light knows how to handle it or honor it. And when you don't fully see your own light, you don't always recognize when someone is interacting with you from a place that isn't aligned. You assume connection. You assume good intention. You assume people are meeting you from the same place you're coming from. But that's not always the case. Some people are drawn to what you carry because it feels different, because it feels steady, because it feels open, because it feels real. And instead of respecting that, they don't quite know what to do with it. So the interaction becomes uneven, not always in an obvious way, but in subtle ways. Ways that leave you questioning yourself, ways that make you feel like something shifted, even if you can't explain how. And when that happens more than once, you start to notice patterns, not just in one person, but across different situations, different environments, different interactions, and you begin to realize this isn't random. There is something about the way you show up that has an effect on people, and that realization can feel uncomfortable at first, because you weren't trying to carry something that required this level of awareness. You were just being yourself. But now you're starting to see it differently. You're starting to recognize that your presence has impact, that your energy is felt, that the way you move through the world isn't neutral. And that means you have to move with a different level of awareness now. Not fear, not isolation, but awareness. Because once you see it, you can't move the same way you did before. You can't give everyone the same level of access. You can't ignore what you feel just to keep things comfortable. You can't assume that every interaction is meant to go deeper. You become more intentional, more selective, more grounded in yourself, not because you've changed into someone else, but because you've become aware of what was already there. And awareness changes how you move. It changes what you allow. It changes how you engage. It changes how much of yourself you give in certain spaces. Because your energy, your presence, your light is not something that needs to be everywhere. It's something that needs to be placed carefully, shared intentionally, given in spaces that can actually hold it. And that doesn't mean you become closed off. It means you become discerning. You start to recognize when something feels aligned and when it doesn't. You trust that feeling sooner. You don't override it. You don't dismiss it. You don't talk yourself out of it. You listen. And that's what protects you. Not shutting down, not pulling away from everything, but learning how to move in a way that reflects your awareness. Because your light was never the problem. Your openness was never the problem. The only thing that needed to shift was how you allowed people to access it. And now that you're starting to see it clearly, you get to move differently. You get to choose where your energy goes, who has access to you, how much of yourself you share, And that doesn't make you distant. It makes you intentional. You didn't realize how magnetic you are, but now that you do, you can move in a way that actually protects what you carry and allows it to exist without being drained by the wrong environments. Your light was never meant to be available everywhere, and now you're learning how to hold it in a way that honors you.